Welcome to today's episode here of Friday Night Meta, giving us a glimpse of after 2 weeks roughly here in January of what the current state of a multitude of formats looks like here on Magic the Gathering. Thank you for tuning in as always as we walk through all the key statistics and additional decks and things like that for you to stay on top of your game. Now, down below, you will find the timestamps as we work through each of the formats, best of one and best of three, as we always do. And if you got a question, if you got a comment throughout, do let me know because I'd love to hear from you as always. And feel free to join us in the Discord server, my friends. All right, so let's get going here. Standard best of one. This is the current state that we're seeing. We've got mono white humans at the top, followed by mono red aggro, Selesnya enchantments, Azorius control, Gruul aggro, moving on up, mono black, dimmer control, and Golgari midrange. Here on the right, you can see mostly played by mono red, followed closely by Selesnya enchantments and mono white humans. Now, as we scroll down, we can see some of these trends changing over time. There's the humans getting the lift here towards the tail end of this week. And then additionally, as we've seen in the past, we did have that Selesnya enchantments popping in above as well there, right at the end of last week. So a couple of key things to pay attention to. Let's go ahead and check out Mythic. We might not get a lot. We got some in here, which is nice. We do have Azorius control at the top of the list. Then we got mono red aggro, Selesnya enchantments, mono blue tempo, Esper Legends, mono black aggro, Golgari midrange, and Orzhov Super Friends in our Mythic. So very, very interesting to see that. A few changes. It's always nice to kind of see those things as we drill up and down. So let's go ahead and check out best of three here for you today. Best of three, 4C domain is at the top, followed by mono red aggro, Gruul aggro, Boros Convoke, Esper midrange, Golgari midrange, 5-color domain, Azorius soldiers, and then on the right here you can see that popularity heavily dominated by Esper midrange, 4-color domain, mono red aggro, and Golgari midrange. Now, as we come down here, you can see a lot of the popularity trend changes and so forth. We do see everything else kind of coming down. Mono red getting a little bit more popular. Here we do see that 5-color domain dropping off, while 4-color gets a little bit better in terms of win rate. Some of the other stuff moving around there. Mono red's really kind of the only one kind of going sideways. I mean, you could say similar for Esper midrange there as well. Let's go ahead and check out our Mythic space and see what we got here. We just got Esper midrange up there at Mythic today. So that concludes our standard. Let's go ahead and check out Explorer. Here in Explorer, we do have Abzan Amalia at the top, Boros Heroic, Selesnya Angels, Abzan Greasefang, Azorius Control, mono red aggro, Rakdos midrange, and Is it Phoenix. Then we got the rest here on the right. As you can see, really the top four making up most of that meta, and then you can check out some of these trends. Again, this is with the new set release of cons, and here you go, and here you have it in terms of play over time and the win rates. Again, Amalia has been pretty solid, much better out of the gate, a little bit more of a drop. We do see Boros Heroic kind of coming up and catching back up. Good trending here from Abzan Greasefang as well. Some things that we'll keep an eye on. Let's check out Mythic. Here, not enough stuff at Mythic yet. Let's check out best of three. Here in best of three, we got Boros Convoke, Is It Phoenix, Abzan Amalia, Rakdos midrange, Rakdos Sacrifice, Azorius Control, 5-color fires, mono black, Waste Not. Now here on the right, you can see what's heavily dominated. Is It Phoenix, Abzan Amalia, Azorius Control, and Rakdos midrange. Then as we see the popularity over time, huge trending down again, particularly for Rakdos midrange, again from cons. And then you can see it did overtake and come back and has held its spot. Now we do have Azorius Control in there with a close second. And then the win rate over time, we did have Abzan Amalia holding up very, very well until the very end here where Is It Phoenix overtook it. So very, very important to pay attention to. Again, in terms of those win rates, if we add in that Boros Convoke, there you go. You can see the same thing there in terms of that win rate as well, and where it's sitting there in terms of popularity. Now, when we scroll up to Mythic, here's what we got going on. Just Azorius Control there here today. All right, so that's going to conclude our best of one and best of three there for Explorer. Let's take a look at Alchemy. What's happening here? We got mono red aggro, mono black Nazgul, Orzhov midrange, Gruul burn, Gruul dinosaurs, mono black midrange, 5-color legends, and Azorius Control. Now on the right, heavily dominated by that mono red aggro. We got Azorius soldiers, Gruul burn. There's the rest of it for you there. Look at this huge just uptick when it comes to mono red, and then you can see the rest here in terms of what's going on. Then again, mono red aggro suppressing a little bit on the win rate. We did have Gruul burn doing a little bit better there. in terms of what's happening for us in Alchemy. Now, when we look at Mythic, not enough data there as well. Let's go ahead and move over to best of three. Best of three, really only 3 decks here. We got Orzhov Midrange, Orzhov Control, and Esper Control. Then you can see the rest there, and I don't think there's going to be anything in Mythic. Exactly. All right, so that concludes Alchemy. Let's go ahead and check out Historic. So here in Historic today, we got Mono Green Devotion at the top, followed by Is It Wizards, Mono Green Elves, Mono Red Aggro, Selesnya Squirrel Twin, Mono White Life Gain, 4-color Ley Line, Mono Black Control, and then here on the right, you can see Is It Wizards, Mono Green Elves, 4-color Ley Line, Mono Green Devotion, and then some of that popularity over time. Again, cons. And then here you go. And then obviously here, very, very tight meta, at least towards the end of this week. Lots of compression there. We'll keep an eye on that in particular. And then as we look to Mythic, here we go in Mythic, Dimmer Ninjas, 81% win rate. Look at that. Very, very nice. Well done, my friend. And there we have it. Let's check out best of three. Best of three, we're sitting on Is It Wizards, Mono Green Devotion, Temur Gates, Zor's Control, and then you can see how that's going there in terms of our best of three matches. All right, so that concludes Historic for us. Now it's on to Timeless. Many of you still playing Timeless, which is great to hear and see. Here we got Dimmer Dredge, 5-color Domain, Rakdos Burn, Mono Red Burn, Mono Black Control, Jund Midrange, Rakdos Midrange, Grixis Shadow. Then here on the right, you can see exactly how tight it is. Really between the top two, kind of the next 5 to 6. Pretty impressive there. And then when we look at that popularity, again, very tight in terms of that meta. And then similar to win rate, very tight. We do have Dimmer Dredge holding out nicely above the top. We had that 5-color Domain. It dropped off and started to come back here as well. So something to keep an eye on. And as we check out Mythic, not enough data for us in Mythic. Best of three. Timeless is looking like this. We got Dimmer Control, Jund Midrange, Rakdos Midrange, 5-color Domain, Mono Black Control, Is It Tempo, Sultai Midrange, and 4-color Midrange. Here at the top, you can see really kind of the top 4 and then the bottom 4. A little bit of a spread here, as we talked about, a little bit of a switch between Sultai and Dimmer as well. And then here in terms of that win rate, you had that 5-color Domain, then it became passed by Jund Midrange, a few other things there for us to pay attention to. So that is best of three. When we go to Mythic, there is a couple there, 5-color Domain and Jund Midrange. All right, that concludes Timeless for us. Last but not least, as we like to take a peek, Historic Brawl. So Brawl's got Mythweaver Pog at the top, followed by Tully, Narset, the First Sliver, Atraxa Emoti, Pantlaza, and Atraxa Unifar. Here on the right, you can see lots of people on Mythweaver Pog. We did have that Atraxa Praetor's Voice popping up. We had Narset as well in terms of some of that popularity. And here's that Ragavan still at the top, but certainly just not enough of you playing that in terms of popularity, which is why that's not being pulled in, but you can see this still nonetheless. So that, my friends, is Historic Brawl for you and concludes today's episode as we drill into the meta here for January 2024. Now, with that, if you still got a question, if you got a comment, let me know. I love to hear from you. Let me know what decks you're playing, what you like to see, those kinds of things. I love to hear it. Thank you for all the comments, as always. We'd love to see you in the Discord server as well. Got a great active community there. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we grow this community. On top of that, thank you to all the members. I appreciate it. That's a great way to support the channel. And on top of that, we got affiliate links for cards and things like that. That's a great way to do it as well. You can check those out if you're looking for things. And lastly, we have a ton of great Magic content here for you. In the meantime and in the future, we got a lot more coming your way. So enjoy this week's Standard State and all the other formats state, by the way, for Magic the Gathering, or State of Magic, as we'd like to say, in our what we call our Friday night meta. So with that, we'll see you again soon. Until next time, more Magic coming your way. Take care.